Have you ever had a daydream about being a superhero where you get all of the babes? You're incredibly smart, you have tons of cash, your schlong is like a foot long, and life is just always perfectly working out for you? If that's the case, then this is definitely not the video for you. This isn't about all the rainbows and butterflies and all the comforts of being a superhero. This video is dedicated to talk about the struggles, all the awful things that you have to get through, not just the everyday stuff like just living life, paying your mortgage and all that, but also the added bonus of having to like save people's lives and things of that nature. If I missed one that you feel like should be on the list, let me know in the comment section. But let's stop wasting oxygen and saliva because you guys know I love to do that. Let's get straight into it with number 10, and that is the uncomfortable nature of superhero suits. You're definitely going to get some nipple chafing. You're going to get some very intense wedgies when you're doing some epic heroic poses. Your underwear is going to get so far up your crack, it's literally going to be inside of you. Edna Mode from The Incredibles actually made another great point regarding capes, and realistically you could get sucked into like an airplane turbine or an airplane engine in mid-flight. That's a real world possibility if you are a superhero. But even more than that, the cape would just get in your face, it would get in your way. Capes are completely old-fashioned, but if you do happen to have one, it's probably just gonna end up having cum stains or ketchup stains or ranch stains or whatever type of stains apply to your lifestyle. To be clear, aside from looking badass, there's really no need for capes, people. Come on. Not to mention how uncomfortable they are if you randomly just happen to get an erection halfway through fighting crime. Because, well, let's face it, fighting crime can be somewhat exciting, I guess, and exhilarating. I can also only imagine how difficult it is to breathe in some of these masks. So if you're looking to get in the business of being a superhero, that might definitely be something to keep in the back of your mind. Number 9 isn't really applicable to everybody. I mean, if you're a superhero that has superpowers, I mean, you've basically got it made. But let's assume that you're just kind of a really rich, hunky dude that goes around saving people with a lot of gadgets. You definitely have to stay in shape. You'll probably need to catch up on your Z's as well. You won't be able to go out and party too late or drink too much alcohol or eat too many burritos and cheeseburgers. Not to mention, you're probably gonna have to stretch before fighting crime because you definitely don't want to get a random muscle cramp or pull a muscle in the worst case scenario. So it won't just be good enough to be in decent shape. You'll literally have to be in the best shape of your life for the entirety of your career as a superhero. So just keep that in mind if you want to get in the business of becoming some sort of hero. You definitely have to hit the gym consistently, and you're going to have to stop eating those churros and those delicious hot Cheetos if you want to survive in the game. Number 8 might not sound like such a big deal at first glance, but you definitely need somebody to design a fire superhero suit for you. The Marvel Universe alone has perfect examples of that, and quite a few. You have, for example, Frogman. I mean, whose idea was that? And in certain comic books, he's actually illustrated a little bit chunky, so it goes back to number 9 about being in shape. Or remember that brief period of time where Iron Man's helmet actually had a nose designed onto it? Those are just 2 examples, but the list goes on and on of just really bad suits that have existed. You definitely don't want to be the guy that has a suit that is designed as a rooster only to have everybody call you like Cockman or something like that. Just keep in mind that your suit is going to signify a lot. It's going to symbolize what it is that you represent. So you always want to be looking absolutely fly in your suit, regardless of what the cold, disgusting world throws at you. Number 7 is another one of those that you really need to sit down and think about before you decide to jump into the life. Because, well, you probably won't have a life after becoming a superhero. You will be so dedicated that you just won't have any time to play video games or to chill and throw back a nice cold brewski, or just something as simple as blowing off some steam and stroking your tiny little chode. You just won't have time for any of that. Your whole life will consist of saving people, giving awesome hero speeches, and putting criminal scumbag behind bars. That's on top of still going to your normal 9 to 5, making a living, being stuck in traffic, having to waste away your life at the DMV. Basically all of that boring menial stuff that you'll still have to do. So if you're all about that life, just keep in mind your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, all of that stuff will have to be put on hold at least for the time that you choose to be a superhero. Number 6 is another one that might not come to your mind initially. And again, it's not something that will apply to every superhero because some of them might not do it. But if for any reason you're feeling kind, you're feeling generous, and you decide to transport a criminal to prison, well, then that's basically the downside. You have a criminal inside your vehicle. I have no idea what criminal stench is like, but I'm gonna assume it's a mixture of like armpit smell and ass cheeks, and that smell is most likely going to linger inside of your superhero vehicle for quite some time. And there's always the possibility of one of these criminals puking all over your vehicle. There's also a slight chance that they might urinate inside of your vehicle as well. Now, why would they do that, you may ask? I have no idea. I'm not a criminal. I have no idea what their mindset is. Not to mention, you're probably going to have to explain for the next few months to everybody that gets in your vehicle why exactly it smells like that. Number 5 is another kind of strange, weird one. You probably won't notice it at first once you put some villains behind bars, but eventually it's gonna grow incredibly thin, and that is that you'll have to listen to these awful monologues from the villains every time you're about to clap some cheeks or you're about to spread them cheeks and give them the business and just beat some justice into these scumbags. You're gonna have to listen to their entire origin story or their entire reasoning or their logic behind their life of crime. And as I already mentioned, the first couple of villains or the first couple of criminals that you wrap up won't be that bad, but then eventually once you hit maybe your 20th or 30th villain, you will definitely need to bring your AirPods and just blast some tunes or listen to a podcast while these guys just go on rambling. Although, to be brutally honest, you could probably end their speech a little bit earlier and just beat them to a pulp, save everybody some time. Let's be brutally honest, not every villain deserves that much screen time. For our 4th spot on the list, we probably have the darkest, the most twisted reason to not become a superhero, and that is that your parents are probably going to die. Just look at Spider-Man's origin story, or Bruce Wayne growing up and losing his parents, or even The Flash, for example, who basically destroyed the entire DC comic book universe for a while trying to bring them back. So the chances of your parents being alive once you actually become a superhero, well, those chances are extremely low. I hate to break it to you guys. Those people that wiped your cheeks when you were still wearing diapers, those people that wiped the mucus off of your face, those people that would occasionally throw their flip-flops at your head. No, was that just me growing up? Well, those people, they're probably not going to be around. Again, that's not to say that they won't be alive if you become a superhero. Just the chances of them, surviving well into your superhero career, that's going to diminish, I think, the older that you get. Like I said, it's definitely the darkest spot on the list, but it has to be said. It has to be thrown out there. You really have to be aware of the hazards of being a superhero. Our 3rd spot is pretty straightforward. Being a superhero doesn't really pay that well. I guess it depends on who you are. I mean, if you just come right out and say, like, I'm Iron Man, and well, if you are Iron Man, you can make money off of that. You can probably get some sort of endorsements or a sponsorship, maybe like slap your face on a lunchbox or like a brand of condoms or action figures, or I don't know, maybe you could sell your soul to the devil and just do like a Burger King commercial for a few $100,000, or maybe a Taco Bell or something like that. But let's be brutally honest, Burger King and Taco Bell, that's more of like where the villains go to eat after committing crimes. But the heroes that come out and just say their identities, for the most part, that's a small portion of the comic book community. In most cases, most superheroes keep their identities or their real identity secret, which means your face will probably still be on lunchboxes and backpacks and socks and people's underwear. They will write comic books and potentially make movies based on your life, but you probably won't make a single dime from that. So unless you're Tony Stark or Bruce Wayne or any of these, like comic book superheroes that inherited a bunch of money, not only are you going to be putting your life on the line, you're going to be getting your ass beat from time to time, but aside from all that, you're still going to be a broke ass normal civilian in your everyday life. So just make sure, if you're getting into the superhero life, just make sure that you're getting into it for the right reasons. I guess the 2nd spot is another one of those that won't apply to every superhero, because there are some that just come out and reveal their secret identity. But for those that choose to basically live two different lives to keep everybody around them safe, that would definitely only get harder as time goes by, especially when you're going with your everyday routine life and maybe somebody talks a bit of smack to you, or God forbid you're Clark Kent and they make you wait in a line for 30 minutes for some overpriced, disgusting Italian food. Could you imagine how tempted he must be to just whip his glasses off and just sucker punch somebody's face into the next galaxy? Or could you imagine somebody gives them a just absolutely raw cheeseburger? I mean, so raw you could still hear the cow mooing. Can you imagine how tempted he must be to just use heat vision to destroy the cook's face? Or could you imagine being Clark Kent and having your parents completely destroy you for being a mid-level employee at the Daily Planet, even though you've saved Earth at this point half a dozen times at least? Not to mention he can't use any slick pickup lines about being Superman to pick up any hot babes. Women will literally just have to fall in love with Clark Kent. How awful, I know, but that is just one other reason for why you probably shouldn't become a superhero. We've already covered 9 reasons, but the top spot really shouldn't be that much of a surprise. It should probably be like the first thing that pops into your head when you decide to become a hero. Everything else you can basically learn to deal with, but our top spot on the list is that, well, you can basically just die from doing the work. If you're Superman, you probably don't have a lot to worry about. The only thing that could maybe hurt you would be like a Kryptonian bullet or something like that made from kryptonite. However, it's very difficult to obtain and very expensive. But if you're just a normie human being with really good combat skills but no superpowers, you're in a boatload of trouble, especially if you run into a villain that has just OP power levels. So if the other 9 reasons didn't quite convince you that you shouldn't become a superhero, number 1 should definitely do it for you. Nobody's gonna even pay for your funeral services. There is no life insurance policy for your family to cash out. Plus, there's probably nothing more uncomfortable than dying in a superhero suit. All that hot leather and latex. What a horrendous way to go. But there you have it. These are the top 10 reasons why not to become a superhero. I am sure I missed many more, so let me know in the comment section which ones I might have missed. This is our first ever top 10, so go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and thank you guys for tuning in.